Farrier and Higbee battle it out at Accord. Hearn inches closer to win 900. Quick time starts now. The following video is brought to you by Canaan Auto Supply. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Warren and welcome to another episode of Quick Time. For the fourth consecutive week, Mother Nature had other plans for many area race fans, but we'll catch up now with the Friday night action as we start out at the great race place, Albany-Saratoga Speedway. The Bobco video highlights are brought to you by the Flat Companies. We'll kick it off with some Pro Stock action as Bill Smith going to hit the implement tire, go up and over. A tough break for the driver of the 41. He would be dazed, but would be okay. Meanwhile, up front, Walt Brownell and Nick Stone going to do battle for the lead, but that two-man race going to become three as here comes Speeder as he joins the fight. Stone, who was the leader, would go around in turn number 2, giving the advantage to Robbie Speed, who would go on to pick up the victory. Start of the monoplines now. Bobby Hackle in the 97 going to lead the field to the green. He would lead early, but have to battle the 22J at Jeremy Wilder, as Wilder would take over the lead from the 97 machine. Defending champion Mark Johnson would find trouble and end his night early, and on the ensuing restart, big problems in turn number 1 as a host of drivers would get collected in this incident, including Keith Flack, and as well Lee Bryce would put it, it was a parking lot party up there in turn number 1. Great racing would continue as Tremont going to continue to fight his way up toward the front. 4 wide for a moment as Hackle bobbles. Sand Lake Slingshot going to take advantage. Tremont moves forward, but so was Brett Hearn in the 20 as he battled for the lead with Wilder down the front stretch. Hearn would grab that spot. Now Tremont trying to follow suit, but makes contact with Wilder, destroying the rear end of the 115. His night would be over. The Ravina Rocket, Keith Flack going to make the high side works. He passes a couple of cars for position. He'd make it to third, but out front it was all Brett Hearn as he picks up win number 895 in his illustrious career. Matt DePue would hold on for a strong second. Flack third and is now the point leader heading into Friday night. Cody Bellinger would finish in fourth, and Don Rocca would round out the top 5. To the bull ring of Accord Speedway as we go on to the finish of the rookie sportsman race as Stan Wyszynski holds on for the win over Kenny Ryder. The 07 going to get it done as now we head to the main event where Kenny Farrier going to lead them to the green. Brought to you by Cranes Outdoor Power Equipment. Trouble at the back of the pack as Richie Urich going to get tossed around like a pinball, bringing out the first caution right away. Urich would fight back for a top 10 finish, and more trouble a couple laps later as Anthony Perego gets turned around, collecting the Tommy Johnson in the 45. Off the restart, Farrier would slide job up into turn number 1, but look at Jimmy Wells up the middle for position, and then the 5 of Chad Lodice going to be there for third. They continue to race hot and heavy in turn number 1 when Wells and Lodice come together, causing a major pile-up to ensue. When Green Flag Racing would resume, the battle was on for the top spot as Farrier and the Statesman Jerry Higbee would race side-by-side lap after lap. Down the front stretch, the 2 front runners would make contact, loosen Farrier up enough for Higbee to get the spot as he would hold on for the win. Kenny Farrier would have to settle for second, Jesse Marks third, Scott Farrier fourth, and Danny Tyler would finish in fifth. Back to Malta we go for some sportsman racing. Robert Bublak Jr. up front at the start, but things were getting a little squirrely up front as Rocky Warner, a man on a mission, moving his way up. Here he races to the outside of Bublak for second after the restart. Warner was going to be your new leader going into turn number 1 and 2 as he wins another one with his fast hot rod taking the checkers once again. On to street stock racing now. It was a different race, but same result for the 14 of Al Relier, who was fast out front. He led the field at the start as Randy Miller lost a tire. He would go pit side and finish 19th on the evening. Few laps later, trouble for the 57 of Joey Wilson as he gets to the side of his machine torn off in turn number 2. And as I mentioned at the beginning, no one was going to catch Relier as he picks up his first career win up on the Malta Oval.
Justin, first career feature win at the Fonda Speedway. Tell me what it was like when you crossed that finish line first.
You know, it was one of the most exciting things I've ever had happen to me. You know, we put a lot of work into racing every year, and it's finally paid off. And I feel like the weight is lifted off my shoulders, and we can actually relax and have some more fun racing this year.
You were running second to Stuart Friesen. Were you thinking you had a shot still, or were you content with second at that point?
You know, I felt like I could catch him. I felt like I had a good enough car to do so. I know in my mind, when we restarted behind him, all I had on my mind was to catch him. I don't know if we actually had enough time to do so. He's just lightning fast, especially after restarts. He would gain so much on me on the restarts that it was hard to make up that time unless he made a mistake, and he rarely ever makes a mistake.
You and your family have been coming here a long time. What's it mean to finally be a feature winner here at the Track of Champions?
You know, it means everything, especially since my father won here. I definitely wanted to get a win here. We tried in Sportsman a little while, and it just didn't work out for us. And I'm very excited that we are able to get a win here so that our names can be together on the record book.
You mentioned your dad. Your parents certainly have a lot to do with your career. Who else do you need to thank for getting you into victory lane this season?
Well, I got to thank my wife. You know, she's always there to support me. She's there every day. She's at every single race that I've ever had. And I also got to thank my sponsors, Swagger Factory, Fox Shocks, Jumpin' Jacks, Ronnie Johnson's Crew and Ronnie Johnson, Race Printing, Merchants Restoration, Kendall Race Team, and everybody on my pit crew, Chris Rayom, Dave Grays, obviously my mother and father. You know, anybody that's ever wrenched on my car, I got to thank, because it's helped me get me in this position where I am today.
More action now for you as we head back to the Ulster County Bull Ring for the Update Auto Pure Stock feature event, as Ray Tarantino would lead them early as Libby Johnson, the host of others, race per position behind him. Tarantino going to be just a little bit too strong for everybody else as he's going to win this run running away. We move to some sportsman action now, brought to you by La Rochelle Auto Body and Restoration. As a number of drivers finding some trouble early, attrition would be a factor, taking out some good cars in the opening of the event, as it would open the door for Kyle Roerner in the 4 machine. Here he is racing Tyler Johnson for position in the top 5. Then he would go after Nick Plumstead in the 22, where they would make some contact, and Plumstead would go around. Off the next restart, Roerner would take the advantage over Johnson, going into 1, taking sole command of the top spot. Johnson's car would fade as he would have to fend for himself as Roerner goes on for win number 2 on the year. That'll do it for this week's episode of Quick Time. A special thanks goes out to sponsors of the Flat Companies, Cannon Auto Supply, La Rochelle Auto Body and Restoration, Cranes Outdoor Power Equipment, Tom Saban, and Bob Code Media. I'm Mike Warren. We'll see you next time at the races.